So let's talk about something that's at the very heart of our day, our prayer. We're going to dive into how we can take it from something that feels, maybe a little robotic into a true, deep, and powerful connection with our Creator.
I mean, be honest. Does this feel familiar? You stand up to pray, you say the words, you do the movements, but your mind is just somewhere else entirely. You're thinking about that email you need to send, what's for dinner, that awkward conversation you had, and then it's over and you don't really feel any different. If that's you, trust me, you are not alone.
And this right here, this analogy from the prophet, peace be upon him, just hits so hard. He compared a rushed prayer to a starving person just eating a tiny crumb. It looks like you're eating, but it does absolutely nothing to fill you up. It doesn't give you that spiritual nourishment that your soul is desperate for.
So, what's really going on when we feel this way? Well, the term for it is heedlessness. And look, this isn't about calling anyone a failure. It's just a state of being distracted, of being neglectful. But the best part? It is absolutely something we can overcome.
Okay, but before we jump into the how-to, we got to step back and remember why prayer is so foundational in the first place. This is our direct line, our personal audience with God. It is the food for our souls. And as we're constantly reminded, it's our shield, our protection from all the chaos and temptation out there. It's the anchor that holds our entire day together.
All right, so let's get practical. We're going to start with the outside, the physical stuff, and then work our way in. Because honestly, we can lose that precious connection before we even really begin if our physical form is off.
Now check this out. The way the prophet describes someone who doesn't get their physical prayer right, he called them the worst thief. Think about that. Why the worst? Because you're not stealing from a bank or from a stranger. You are literally robbing yourself of the incredible reward and connection that belongs to you.
So let's take a look at a really common one, the bowing, or ruku'. You can see it here on the screen. The correct way is to have your back straight, almost like a tabletop. A lot of times, though, we see a curved back, or the head dipping way too low. Getting this right isn't just about following rules. It's a physical expression of reverence.
And then we have the most humble position, the prostration, or sujud. For this to be complete, 7 parts of your body have to be firmly on the ground. You've got your forehead and nose, both of your palms, both knees, and the toes of both feet. You have to be fully and literally grounded in this position.
But here is probably the most crucial physical point of all: tranquility, stillness. There's this famous story of a man who was praying really fast, and the prophet, peace be upon him, made him repeat his prayer 3 times, telling him, "Go back and pray, for you have not prayed." And what was his mistake? He was just pecking like a chicken, moving too fast. He didn't let his body settle in each position. Those few extra seconds of just being still can make all the difference. Okay, so we've addressed the body, but now we have to tackle what is, for most of us, the real battlefield, the mind. How do we stop our thoughts from going 1,000,000 miles an hour the second we begin our prayer?
This type of mental carelessness in prayer often shows up in one of 4 main ways. First, just delaying the prayer until the last minute. Second, rushing through the movements, which we just talked about. Third, just being totally preoccupied with other thoughts. And the fourth, which is the most dangerous, is praying just so other people see you.
And it's so important to realize this isn't just you being bad at focusing. This is a real spiritual battle. The prophet, peace be upon him, actually told us there's a specific entity named Khinzab, whose entire mission is to sneak in during your prayer and whisper distractions, make you forget how many rak'ahs you've done. When you know you have an opponent, you prepare for the fight, right?
So what's the answer? What's the antidote to the rushing body and the wandering mind? It all comes down to one beautiful, powerful concept: khushu'. This is the game changer.
And khushu' isn't just about concentrating. It's way deeper than that. It's a state of the heart. It's this perfect blend of calmness, of focus, of humility. It's when your heart is just as present and bowed down as your body is. That is the goal.
So, how in the world do we get there? Well, lucky for us, the early generations left behind some incredible tools. And one of the most powerful is a mental framework from a great sage named Hatem al-Assam. He laid out this visualization to do right before you start to pray. First, he said, as you stand to pray, you imagine the Kaaba is right there, directly in front of you. You're not in your bedroom or your office anymore. You are standing before the house of God. Second, you imagine that the Surat,
That bridge over the fire that's described as being thinner than a hair is directly underneath your feet, and the quality of this prayer might be what determines if you cross safely.
Third, picture paradise in all its glory to your right, and picture the raging fire to your left. Your eternal destination is right there, in the balance, and it hinges on the sincerity you put into this single act.
And finally, the most powerful one. He said to imagine that the angel of death is standing right behind you, waiting. To truly believe that this could be your final prayer, your very last conversation with your Creator. If you knew that, how differently would you pray?
Wow. I mean, that visualization is it's everything. And we can support that powerful mindset with these 4 really practical steps. 1, prepare with intention. Do your wudu slowly, find a quiet spot. 2, slow, down. Find that stillness in every posture. 3, know what you're saying. Understanding the meaning turns recitation into a real conversation. And 4, if and when your mind wanders, just pause and seek refuge from those distractions.
You see, when we actually make this effort, when we bring together the correct physical form with a heart that's full of khushu', the prayer stops feeling like a chore. It stops being an obligation, and it becomes the single greatest gift of our day.
And I want to leave you with this final image because it's just so beautiful. The Prophet, peace be upon him, once asked his companions, if there was a river outside your door and you bathed in it 5 times a day, would any dirt be left on you? And of course they said no. He replied, that is the example of the 5 daily prayers. Allah wipes away sins with them. It's a daily wash, a total reset, a spiritual renewal, 5 times a day.
So remember that. Every single prayer is a new opportunity. It's a flowing river of mercy and purification just waiting for you. The only question left is, the next time the call to prayer is made, how will you choose to enter it? Are you going to just rush in for a quick splash, or are you going to dive in and immerse yourself completely?